This course is a review of Muddy Brook Fire Department's SOG number 10. This is our hazardous materials guideline and references OSHA's 29 CFR 1910.120. This standard operating guideline is meant to provide a guideline for members to follow when responding to hazardous materials incidents. It applies to all active members who are qualified to respond to calls. And the responsibilities and authorities, the officers are going to be responsible for maintaining the currency of this guideline and establishing any administrative controls. And the chief is responsible for approval of the guideline, providing membership with the education regarding what's in this guideline and enforcement. Other member responsibilities will be outlined throughout this training. So a hazardous materials incident shall be defined as any item or agent, whether it's biological, chemical, radiological, or physical, which has the potential to cause harm to humans, animals, or the environment, either by itself or through interaction with other factors. All active members of Muddy Brook are required to be trained to the awareness level. Awareness level members must be able to recognize a hazardous materials release, identify release materials, notify proper authorities, and establish safe areas. They operate in a support role, assisting only in the cold zone, never in the warm zone or the hot zone. Operations level members are those trained to be part of the initial response to a release for the purpose of protecting nearby people, the environment, and or property from the effects of the release. Operations level responders may perform rescues when it is deemed safe. Personnel may contain the release from a safe distance and control spreading to protect exposures. Technician level members are those who are trained to take offensive actions to mitigate the HAZMAT incident, such as containing the release at the incident site and controlling the spread to protect exposures. Safety for Muddy Brook members, mutual aid responders, and civilians is the number one priority at hazardous materials incidents. Accountability must be established at every hazmat incident. Every member operating inside the warm or hot zones must be accounted for at the time of entry and time of exit, as well as at any additional intervals requested by command. A dedicated rapid intervention team of qualified hazmat operations personnel must be established for the duration of all significant hazmat incidents while operations within the hot zone are taking place. A safety officer must be assigned by command at all hazmat incidents in the Muddy Brook District. A safety officer must monitor all operations at the scene and must either take action to avoid poor safety considerations or must advise the incident commander of such considerations. A medical rehabilitation area must be established, and all hazmat personnel must report to the rehabilitation area upon exiting decontamination, or if ordered to do so by an officer. The first arriving officer shall establish command and provide an initial report as outlined in SOG number 1, use of incident command. Any transfer of command should also follow this guideline. This SOG is available at the station in our policy and procedure binder. Incident command must establish the status of life safety and report that status to QV so responding units are aware. Create an incident action plan prior to any operations. Incident command should obtain a weather report from QV. We should stay upwind, upgrade, and use binoculars for size up. The command post can be set up approximately 200 feet from the decontamination line, upgrade, and upwind. The incident commander will decide what level of protection is required. Every effort shall be made to identify the product that is involved in the incident prior to performing any actions. Information obtained from placards, labels, safety data sheets, information from the truck driver, owner, shipping papers, and or shipper should be reported immediately to operations or command. If the material is still unidentified, refer to DOT Guide 111. All Muddy Brook Fire Department personnel should respond to the station for a hazmat response. The ranking officer will direct the response for equipment and personnel to a location at scene or staging area. Mutual aid apparatus should be staged in an area that is away from the scene to prevent unnecessary traffic congestion. A staging officer shall be appointed by the incident commander for this purpose. When responding mutual aid, Muddy Brook personnel and apparatus should report to the staging area to await for assignment. Command should assign other fire officers, including mutual aid, to assist in the command post for logistics, assign hazmat roles, and start documenting the incident. For large-scale incidents, a Region 4 response should be requested. Have a representative from DEEP and from the SARET Hazmat Emergency Response Team in the command post. For a potential biohazard chemical release, have a representative of the state police in the command post. Call Chemtrec at 1-800-424-9300 for additional information. The fire marshal should be requested for all incidents involving flammable or combustible materials. Request Webster Rescue 3 for onboard hazmat data programs and weather station. Additional resources are hazmat technicians and equipment from the Eastern Response SARET departments, initially from Yukon and Norwich Fire Departments, followed by Willimantic Fire Department and additional SARET team members if required. Our operational decontamination team consists of stations 75, 77, 81, and 83. These departments need to be requested to assist us in operational level hazmat responses or mutual aid requests for our decontamination equipment. Our next in mutual aid can be from the Southbridge, Dudley, and Webster Fire Departments. Stations 77 and 81 have hazardous materials trailers that have additional equipment if needed. If life safety is an issue, a risk/benefit assessment must be made. If the incident commander or operations officer orders a search and rescue, a team consisting of at least 2 hazmat responders will be sent in. Search team hazmat responders should be equipped with proper PPE, SCBA, radio, thermal imaging camera, and metering devices. A hose line should be deployed if it is deemed necessary. A backup team, equally equipped, should be established to serve to rescue an injured or trapped hazmat responder. Victims will be taken to the warm zone for decontamination, treatment, and transport. The DOT guidebook shall be followed for the beginning of the incident and throughout the operation. At least 3 other sources of information on the product should be consulted, such as the NIOSH guide or SDS forms if they are available. QB shall be notified of the product identity, container type, number of containers involved, and the DOT guideline that is being followed. Obtain any and all information from the person or persons reporting or involved in the incident. Use hazmat incident worksheets, such as the 8-step process or rapid hazmat, which are contained in Rescue 475 and Service 275. Initial size up of the incident should be from a distance of a minimum of 300 feet to up to 500 feet away if possible. Safety zones may be decreased depending on if the product is a solid, which is generally 75 feet, or liquid, which could be around 150 feet, or may have to be increased if the form is a vapor and depending on the released product, time of day, and weather conditions. So typical safety zone for a gas or vapor would be 330 feet, but if the wind is blowing it in a certain direction, the safety zone may need to be modified. So follow DOT guidelines, NIOSH handbook, and SDS forms or other information at hand for establishing the cold, warm, and hot zones. Appropriate state and local agencies, such as the DEP, shall be notified of releases. In some cases of biological agents being released or weapons of mass destruction, the Connecticut State Police Hazmat Team may need to be notified, in addition to the SARET Hazmat Team. Notification of law enforcement hazmat teams will typically be done by the Connecticut DEP Hazmat Response Unit. If a decision is made to go into the hot zone, a minimum of 4 operational level shall be used. This is to follow the 2-in, 2-out rule, with appropriate backup personnel ready in full protective clothing. Entry shall not be started until the appropriate decontamination line is set up. If a decision is made to go into a hot zone utilizing level A suits, a minimum of 6 technician level, 2 in, 2 backup, 2 reserve shall be used, with the appropriate backup personnel ready in full protective clothing. Entry shall not be made until the appropriate decontamination line is set up. Personnel entering the hot zone shall wear full protective clothing, breathing apparatus, and other appropriate PPE for the incident type. Only certified SCBA personnel, operational or technician level responders shall enter. Return to warm zone for evaluation if the area is considered hazardous. Avoid and eliminate all ignition sources. Avoid contact with the material. The Muddy Brook Fire Department shall follow our current HAZMAT operational guidelines for any and all hazardous materials incidents. There is no need for actual response to change for events involving terrorism. The major change will be the response or potential response of law enforcement agencies. All agencies that respond shall work together as a team to accomplish and control and mitigate the incident. If any changes need to occur, they shall be directed by the incident commander, along with suggestions from DEP, Connecticut State Police, SARET team, and other federal agencies. FireRescue1Academy.com has multiple HAZMAT courses and courses pertaining to terrorism. Feel free to take any of them. They have firefighter terrorism awareness, safeguarding your community from terrorism, and HAZMAT responding to terrorist incidents. Responders from fire, EMS, and law enforcement may come in contact with fentanyl. When arriving at a scene, all responders should analyze the incident, assess the risks for hazards, and determine whether fentanyl or other drugs are suspected to be present. Decontamination for responders who contact fentanyl should immediately use soap and water to thoroughly wash and rinse contaminated skin. Do not use hand sanitizers or bleach solutions to clean contaminated skin. All contaminated clothing should be removed, bagged, and then laundered, being careful not to disturb any areas of potential contamination. Responders should shower as soon as possible after a potential exposure. So, our PPE recommendations for exposure levels. So, if it's a minimal risk, this would be response to a situation where it is suspected that fentanyl may be present, but no fentanyl products are visible, such as a regular EMS call. Nitrile gloves are appropriate. If there is a moderate risk, such as a response to a situation where small amounts of fentanyl products are actually visible, this could occur at a regular EMS call or if we're working with law enforcement. Nitrile gloves and respiratory protection are recommended. The use of a level B suit may also be appropriate. The incident commander, safety officer, and EMTs will determine the appropriate level. For high-risk situations, such as response to a situation where liquid fentanyl or large amounts of fentanyl products are visible, this could be during regular EMS or fire call in a residential, storage, or other type of occupancies, or responding to a law enforcement event. So if we find a situation like this, do not touch anything, evacuate the building. If law enforcement is not already on scene, alert them, and prepare to set up a decontamination area for those who will be working on the scene. Exposure to this level is not recommended for pre-hospital care providers. Additional training on opioids and first response is available on FireRescue1Academy.com. You can follow that link below. So, zero emissions programs are requiring the transport industry to utilize alternative fuels. This transition challenges firefighters when responding to alternative fuel vehicle related incidents. With the increase of these types of vehicles and the exposure to firefighters, it is critical for our members to familiarize themselves with the types of fuel systems and to be able to recognize the fuel type and proper approach. On February 15th, 2024, LA City firefighters responded to a vehicle fire which sent 9 firefighters to the hospital after a compressed natural gas tank exploded. Please review the attached training sheet containing appropriate tactics for responses to fires involving CNG-powered vehicles. Best practices for combating fires involving hybrid or electric vehicles can be found in Muddy Brook's SOG number 7, Vehicle Fires. The toxic gases released from lithium-ion batteries in thermal runaway must be treated as a hazardous material. Members will follow all applicable Muddy Brook policies regarding the use of SCBA and PPE. We will have sufficient fire personnel and apparatus on scene for an extended operation to monitor the battery's heat or possible secondary ignition. The heat from the fire may have damaged additional cells, which may require additional suppression activities. Batteries should always be treated as energized. During overhaul, do not make contact with any high voltage components. Scene security is also important at these types of incidents, whether it's a alternative fuel vehicle, a crime scene, or just a ordinary hazardous materials incident. So this is something our awareness level personnel can assist with in the cold zone, ensuring a perimeter is set up and that the general public or only authorized people are allowed to enter the scene. So, in summary, after an incident is complete, we should assess the overall incident, and a critique must follow every incident. Keep in contact with all agencies operating at the incident. Determine with the DEEP the party responsible for cleanup. If there are any questions as who should be best for the cleanup process, the DEEP shall make the determination. Please reach out to any officer with any questions, comments, or concerns pertaining to Muddy Brook's guidelines for responding to hazardous materials incidents. Remember that safety is our first priority when responding to any call, and the material contained in this training is available in Muddy Brook's policy and procedure binder.